Well, here we go again. Black farmers, Black Georgia farmers this time, are reclaiming land stolen by the government, according to the allegation. Put up the picture full mass. Blaine and Diane Smith, a Black farm owning couple in Georgia, is in the middle of a legal battle to take back a portion of land seized by the state government to be used for a new rail line in a predominantly Black rural community. The Smiths joined multiple property owners in Sparta, Georgia, in filing a joint petition. This is against the Sandersville Railroad Company after the Georgia Public Service Commission approved the business's request to condemn their land to make way for its Hanson Spur project. Now, the Georgia Public Service Commission, let me give you some background to this organization that is a political outfit, by the way. They are elected to 6-year terms in the state of Georgia, just a handful of them, all right? Georgia used to have at least one Democrat on that commission. Now you have 0. But they basically regulate your power companies, and they are in fact funded by the same power companies that they regulate. It is an insane political scenario. And because they are elected for 6-year terms, and the elections are typically not well covered, not well publicized, a lot of people are unaware of their actual power. Sandersville first filed petition last March to acquire part of the property belonging to another generational landowner in Sparta under the state's eminent domain power, which allows government to take private property for public use, even if property owners don't want to sell. However, the state must justly compensate the owners, and the properties must be condemned before they are seized. Other property owners, including the Smiths, whose parcels would also be required for the spur line, challenged the petition, expressing their desires to retain possession of all their land. Then in July 2023, Sandersville amended its initial request to ask the state to condemn portions of land belonging to all of the property owners who consented its petition. That request was approved April 2024, and the PSC upheld that decision in September. Sandersville noted that the industrial rail line will transport construction materials and agricultural products and reduce the number of trucks that use Hancock County roads to haul these materials. The company also said the spur will create $1.5 million in direct economic impact in the county yearly. Quote, the Hanson Spur, along with the future expansion of the Hanson Quarry, will be the single largest private investment in Hancock County history, bringing more jobs, new opportunities, and added tax revenue to the area, Sandersville website states. However, the Smiths aren't convinced that the project is worth giving up even a small portion of their land where they farm timber crops. Quote, if you listen to the railroad folks, they say, you're keeping your land, we're just taking a little piece of it, Blaine Smith told Atlanta News First. But they're devaluing it. They're defacing it. They're creating hazards through it, according to Sandersville's petition. The company would need 7% of the Smiths' land for the rail line's construction. The group also requested the state allot them between 2 and 7% of other parcels in Hancock County belonging to neighboring property owners. Put up the picture. Blaine Smith said his enslaved ancestors worked the county land he and his wife now own. Quote, my father farmed this land. My grandfather farmed it during most of his life, Smith said. He bought it back in the 1920s. During that time, he raised cotton, corn, peas, and all kinds of vegetables. It's still in the Smith family. Not one piece of it had gotten away. Isn't that something? That kind of legacy, that kind of generational connection, that kind of generational wealth, owning actual real estate, okay? Real property. You own dirt. You own real dirt. You have right to this generational property and wealth. Can pass it on to your children and children's children until somebody says, just give me that. All that work, I'm sure sometimes sacrifices had to be made to keep it. The government that you've been paying taxes to says, now give it to me. Sandersville Railroad Company President Ben Tarbutton said he understands the family's concern about generational legacy. But, quote, the condemnation process is the last resort. The president of the company stated that they have had multiple conversations with landowners and seek to help negotiations open with others who have concerns. According to Atlanta News First, multiple property owners have made deals with Sandersville, but 3 families, including the Smiths, are waiting out their battle with Sanderson and the state. Quote, I go back to what my father said, Blaine Smith said, keep the land. The land gives you respectability. Everybody around here knows this is the Smith land. Let me say something because I've seen some comments about this story. You know, there's some people, believe it or not, there's some people who care more. They care more about life, legacy, connection, honor than money. Yeah, there's some people who care about other things more than money. As a matter of fact, you probably do too. If I were to tell you, you got $1 million, you want $1 million, you can get $1 million right now. But the catch is you got one day to spend it because you're going to die in 24 hours. Unless you give me the $1 million back. Most of you will give the $1 million back. Why? Because you value the experiences of life more than you value the $1 million in the first place. It's an illusion for you to value money more than life. It's an illusion. Okay, the Smiths are being represented by the Institute for Justice, whose attorneys argue that Sandersville is conducting land grabs to build a track for the private use of its partners when the law clearly states the land seized under eminent domain must be for public use. Quote, what the railroad has shown is that this track, if it even comes about, is going to promote the profits and the cost reductions for a couple of private companies, and that's all. That's what the attorney said. Quote, Georgia law does not permit a private company to take land through eminent domain unless the land will be for public use. IJ senior attorney Bill Morris stated in September. Building a rail spur that will only be used by a few private companies and not the public at large is not public use. That's according to U.S. Census records, Hancock County, located in East Central Georgia, home to more than 8,600 people. In 2023, roughly 70% of whom are Black, 28.9% are white. What they're trying to do is make a really, really novel and ridiculous argument. They're trying to make an argument that because it frees up congestion in Hancock County, as far as transport is concerned, they're utilizing these proxy arguments as a public use argument. But the attorney is correct. And to nail down what the attorney is saying, and I'm sure this will be nailed down clearer in the future, public use and public benefit are 2 very different things. What the county is arguing is public benefit. What the law states is public use, all right? We had a lot of discussions about that in law school. Okay, Sharon, thoughts here.
We all know what it is, and you eloquently stated exactly what's going on here. It's the okey doke, it's Lemmy enrich others. We've seen it happen in our fair city here. We've seen it happen everywhere. And thank goodness that they understand that in America, value comes with land and not just monetary, as you pointed out, Doc. If you don't have land, not sure you have much in this country.
Yeah, especially you in a place like Hancock County.
That part.
Yeah, we're going to stay on top of this story. I think it's a good fight and very happy that they are fighting the way they are.